Yo, what's going on, your boy Ghost here, and today I'm bringing you guys another comparison video between the buffed STG and Automaton. And I know I haven't made a comparison in quite some time, and that's just because of multiple reasons. For one, moving over to PC, I had to figure out the whole process again on how to like get clips, do this, do that. So then, in order to like be able to make the comparison, it doesn't seem that hard, but for me, it was kind of confusing just because like I just didn't know. It was a little bit more complicated than what it was on console. Like on console, it was way easier to just do everything. Whereas right now it's a little bit more difficult. Now I'm starting to get the hang of it, so obviously expect more comparisons down the future or in the future. And I'm excited to be back to it. And we're gonna start off with the buffed STG, which got buffed in the season 3 update. And as you guys saw a few days ago on the STG video, like the gun obviously looks way better. That's why we're here to talk about it. And the Automaton, which I would say would be the go-to AR before this. Let's see if it still is after the updates. But before we do get into the comparison, I want to say if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. 1 to 2,000. We're about 50 subs away, so we're getting closer and closer to the face reveal. Honestly, at this point, I expect it to happen at the end of May. So but you guys can make it quicker by hitting that sub button. And also, man, if you guys do me a favor of following me over at my Twitch channel at alwaysgoes_. I know I got a lot of new subs. Maybe you guys haven't heard of it yet, but I like to stream over there. That's typically where I stream. So if you guys ever want to see me live, that's where you'll find me. But yeah, man, with that being said, let's get into the comparison. And here we have the recoil pattern for the STG. Now I had to get the recoil pattern in Rumble, where I typically get it in Plunder, because obviously there's no Plunder in the game right now, and that's kind of annoying because that's where I typically like to go and get it. But we had to make do with what we had. But anyways, man, this gun actually didn't get buffed or nerfed in its base department. Like every change came through an attachment, but those attachments were very, very significant in making this gun a lot better. And I'm actually gonna put up what got changed on the screen right now. You guys probably already know what happened, but I'm gonna put it on the screen anyway so that you guys can see it. And the two attachments that we're gonna focus on are the Gorenko 50 round mag and the 760 barrel, because those are the two that mainly get used. The other two barrels, or the other two attachments, might get used, but if you're using this, man, you're doing it wrong. But anyways, man, taking a look over at the Gorenko 50 round mag. Now, this one to me was actually very surprising that they did this, because typically when you do, or actually, no, let me just backtrack a little bit. This 50 round mag is the fire rate mag for the STG. When you put this on, you get more fire rate, but obviously you lose damage range and you lose bullet velocity. But now you get your fire rate and you don't lose damage and you don't lose bullet velocity, which is very significant because they're obviously the two most important things that you can get in a weapon aside from fire rate. And so now you're getting the fire rate, but you're also not losing all the important stuff, which is very, very significant because it helps it compete with the gun like the Automaton without getting hit that much, because the Automaton obviously is obviously really good, has a really high fire rate, and a lot of these Vanguard weapons can't compete with it because they just don't have the fire rate. But obviously you can put on fire rate attachments, but even when you put fire rate attachments, you just lose so much that at that point it doesn't seem just that worth it. And for the barrel, like, not only on this 50 round mag you don't lose all that stuff, like on the barrel you actually get more damage range and bullet velocity. So it's like just a double win because you're getting all the good stuff without really losing anything. And on top of that, if you take a look at the Mercury suppressor, which gives you a lot of good things without losing anything, like overall, a lot of these attachment changes that occurred in this season significantly helped the STG just become so much better as an AR. And this is great because I felt like before this update it was a good AR, but it was kind of like mediocre. Like, I don't think it did excel too much at anything besides maybe having like the fact that it just shot really, really straight. Whereas the Automaton, like, it was very versatile, very fast in killing, and it was just, that's what everyone was go to. But now I'm curious to see if a lot more people are going to try to transition over to STG. Me personally, I'm definitely going to see it happen. I just feel like the STG had too much going for it right now for it to not at least get a chance in the meta. Maybe after a while people will fall back into other guns, but I think for now the STG will definitely get a second look, and I could definitely see it be put in meta in the next coming days. But we'll have to wait and see. And regardless, man, we're just going to get to the Automaton and the stats. And here we have the recoil pattern for the Automaton. And this gun, man, actually didn't get changed in Season 3. And I gotta be honest, I'm not surprised that they didn't change it. I'm actually kind of glad that they didn't change it, because if you guys remember or just know the timeline of the Automaton, this gun has been kind of through the ringer over the course of this whole Vanguard integration. It came in super high, it got nerfed really bad, and then it got buffed once again. And I really feel like it's in a perfect place right now where if it got buffed, it would be a little bit too overpowered, and if it got nerfed, it would be really bad. I feel like right now it's in the perfect place. For me, I wouldn't say perfectly balanced, but I definitely think like making it or buffing it and nerfing it would significantly change the weapon in either a really good or bad way. And I'm kind of glad that they didn't change it. But the STG definitely needed something, and that change, for me personally, has made it better than the Automaton. Like I always felt like the STG had the components to be better than the Automaton, but it just needed something like this for it to like be able to at least compete with the Automaton in terms of meta and be considered a #1 option. But moving on over to the first set of stats that we're going to talk about, we got the fire rate. For the STG, we have a base fire rate of 600 RPM. Obviously, you can put on fire rate attachment. You can do recoil booster. You can do the Gorenko mag, and you get more fire rate. But it still wouldn't come close to the Automaton because the Automaton has the 833 RPM. And also, you could put fire rate attachments on this gun, which I don't think I do. I think I do not. I mean, you don't really need to, but if you would like to, you definitely can. And I've definitely seen people use it before in the past. But I feel like for the Automaton, it's kind of a wasted attachment on an already fast weapon. Like, if you want to, you can obviously can. But, like, I don't know, man. I just feel like you'd be wasting your attachment on it. But anyways, man, moving over to the damages for both these weapons. For starters, we're going to start off with the STG. For 0 to 31 meters, you got 45 damage to the head and neck, 33 to the chest, 30 to the stomach, and then 30 to the extremities. Nothing too crazy there. Definitely still stronger than the Automaton, though, because over here on the Automaton side, for 0 to 44 meters, you got 33 damage to the head and neck, 24 to the chest and stomach, and then 22 to the extremities. So obviously, you know, the Automaton makes up its lack of damage for the fire rate, whereas the STG kind of comes in with the more balanced approach. It doesn't have like the most crazy damage values out there, but it definitely isn't lacking in damage. And on top of that, you know, you got to add in the fact that it doesn't move and it has a faster fire rate now, and like, or a faster fire rate in terms of like the attachments don't negatively impact you as much anymore. And on top of that, you got damage range buffs. So just overall, man, it's a great place, or that's just in a great place right now. Overall, just in anything, like, it doesn't seem like it gets hit anywhere. And you can't really think of anything bad on the weapon at this moment. Like, I feel like right now it might quite literally be almost like the perfect weapon. I might be gassing it a little bit just because it dubbed and whatnot, but I mean, listen, the Automaton had its time, and now it's time for a new king to step on the throne. But anyways, moving on over to the next set of damages for both these weapons. For 31 meters and above for the STG, you got 39 damage to the head and neck, 28 to the chest, and then 26 to the stomach and extremities. For the Automaton, for 44 meters and above, you got 28 damage to the head and neck, 20 to the chest and stomach, and 19 to the extremities. Now, I don't know how accurate the damage... Actually, no, that's not true, because the STG didn't get actually any damage buffs at all, which is actually kind of good. I feel like Raven's starting to understand how to properly balance these weapons, because typically they always do something that makes the weapon either too like good, and then just like, oh, they're gonna end up nerfing it in like a few updates anyway. But I feel like right now, both where the Automaton and STG stand, like, I genuinely think they're, I would say, maybe not perfectly balanced, but way better balanced than guns we've had in the past. And I'm actually very excited moving forward that if this is how they're gonna balance their weapons and make them not so like broken, but at the same time make them very usable, then like, I think we're in great hands for the future, especially for Warzone 2, man. I hope Warzone 2, man, comes in and just like, I just can't wait for that game. But right now, we're still stuck in, obviously, Warzone right now. So looking forward in the future for these games, like, you know, it's good to see that the weapon balance is starting to become better, or at least in the AR department for these two weapons. I don't know how all the other weapons are performing right now. I haven't really had the time to play, so I don't know how the Volk's looking. I don't know how these other SMGs are looking. I had a brief, stint with the MP40 and Owen gun, but you know, I still don't have enough like information to really give you guys an opinion on both weapons. So I'm gonna take a more in-depth look at that, you know, today and the next coming days, just to like understand. I think the next video should be another comparison, depending on, you know, what happens. But if not, it'll just be we'll get that out eventually, because I know that like, people right now are wondering like, the Owen gun, is it still good? MP40 still good? Like, because those two weapons actually ended up getting nerfed in this update, which I was kind of surprised with the MP40. I'm not gonna lie, the MP40 nerf was definitely surprising to me. But we'll get into that when it's time. But for now, man, like I said, in conclusion though, I definitely think that the Automaton, although it's still good, The fact that it just didn't get like any change to it, like, the STG is just better. In conclusion, the STG is better. I definitely think it's going to be the next meta for, at least on the Vanguard side of things. I'd be very, very shocked if it didn't become meta, but at the end of the day, people are just gonna pick their personal preference. You've seen it in the past where statistically the better weapon doesn't get chosen to be in the meta, but that's just how Warzone is, man. But anyways, man, let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. Also, man, if you guys can give me any suggestions on what to improve on comparisons going forward, it'd be greatly appreciated, because this is my first time. It's a whole different process, and any suggestions would be very appreciated. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one, and I'm out. Peace.